ॐ शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि। ॐ. Dear friends, welcome to the study of the Yoga Sutras. We were seeing Sutra number 34 in the last class. Meanwhile, toward the end of the class, about 5 minutes to closure, there was power failure. And also somehow something went wrong with the computer also, so we could not continue. So now we will continue that sutra. We were seeing that sutra number 34, that is Hridaye Chitta Samvit. Yadidam Asmin Brahmapure Daharam Pundarikam Veshma. We were reading that particular line. That is, by doing Sanyama on the heart. And heart in Vedanta, and of course even in this Patanjali Yoga Sutra, heart not necessarily means the blood pumping heart. It also means the Chittam. How? Because the Vedanta says that in the Sushupti time, at the time of Sushupti, the mind takes rest in the heart. It goes through what is called a Puritat Nadi, that is told in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And through that Puritat Nadi, it goes it goes and resides in the heart. So that is how it is called sometimes the Hridaya Pundarika. Hridaya Pundarika is a very common word in the Vedanta text also. Hridaya Pundarika also means when we say that that Chidabhasa, that Chit, Shuddha Chaitanya is reflecting in this Antahkarana, and that Chidabhasa, we are referring to the mind as such. We are referring to the Antahkarana as such. And that Antahkarana is also there. Even when it goes and takes rest, it is also there. It is also present, and that Pratibimba Chaitanya also is there. Consciousness is also there. Chidabhasa is also there at that particular time. So though we do not know that. So that was this. I'll just share the text now. Text where is the yeah, this was the sutra we were reading, 34. Hridaye Chitta Samvit. Hridaye, by doing Sanyama on the heart, the yogi attains the knowledge of Chittam. What is meant by the knowledge of Chittam? Yeah, this is a note which I wanted to read. Upanishads, they talk about the heart space. Dahara Akasha. Dahara means a small. Daharam means alpam. Dahara Akasha means the small little space. And space, whether it is small or big, it is something which is formless, it has no characteristics. So that is what is Shuddha Chaitanya is something, it is the closest comparison with the Chaitanyam is space. So that is the reason why we say Akasha Shariram Brahma, Akasha Shariram. That is, it is like Akasha. There is absolutely no shape, no form. And Vedanta also gives the examples of what is called Ghatakasha and Mathakasha, Mahakasha or Mathakasha also. So Ghatakasha is that space which looks enclosed in a Ghata, in any pot. Mahakasha is the Akasha outside. So this Ghatakasha is not distinct from that Mahakasha or Mathakasha. Mathakasha means that Akasha space which is there in a room or Matham. Matham, and they used a word called Matham, but we can say room Akasha or Prakosthakasha. Prakosthakasha. So something like that. So the heart space, which is said to be the place in which the reflection of Purusha happens. And this heart, as I said, is not the physical heart. And during deep sleep, the mind is said to go through the Purvitatanaru and take rest in the heart. Then this line we have to see. This line is from the Chandogya Upanishad. Yadidam asmin brahmapure daharam pundarikam veshma tatra vijnanam tasmin sanyama tachitta samvit. So up to this point, pundarikam veshma, up to this point, that is the line from Chandogya Upanishad. So in this little heart lotus, which is the abode of Brahma, Brahmapura, the whole body is said to be the Brahmapura. And in that Brahmapura, the city of Brahma, and in that city, where does he dwell? His dwelling place is that heart lotus. So that is the place. And by doing Sanyama on that, the yogi attains knowledge of the entire functioning of the vrittis of mind. Chitta Samvita. Chittam is what is Chittam? It is a collection of the entire, all the vrittis. Innumerable vrittis, past, present, of course not future. So many lives, innumerable lives in the past, and those impressions are also there, and the present impressions, all those things, they constitute. And then, so the yogi, by doing sanyama on that, so he knows the functioning of the vrittis of the mind. So Vyasa quotes this line from the Chandogya Upanishad, that is 8th chapter, first mantra. And he talks of the meditation known as Dahara Brahma Vidya. Chandogya Upanishad is full of upasanas. It tells of so many upasanas. And though Purusha, I have also put a slash, Brahman, is infinite in nature, lay persons are used to think in terms of attaining the abode of Purusha. Hence, of course, in Brahman, in Vedanta, Brahman is one alone. But in Sankhya, Purusha Bahutvam, Purusha Bahutvam, they say. Purusha Bahutvam means Purusha Nanatvam, Purusha Bahutvam, that is all like individual souls. What we call soul in the Western religions. They call it individual soul. So this Purusha in Sankhya is somewhat similar to that. So the lay persons are used to think in terms of attaining the abode of Purusha. Hence, for such minds, meditation is prescribed by the Upanishad. Sanyama mentioned by Patanjali in this sutra is the same as meditation mentioned in the Upanishad. This meditation is on the heart space, that Dahara Akasha, because the all-pervading Purusha exists there too. Okay. Next sutra. This is a very, very important sutra. Sattva Purushayoho. This is somewhat similar, very, very similar to a Vedanta statement. It's very, very similar to the very opening lines of Adhyasa Bhashya in Adhyasa Bhashya of Shankaracharya for the Brahma Sutras. Sattva Purushayoho Atyanta Asankirnayoho Pratyaya Avishesho Bhogaha Pararthatvat. Pararthat. Okay, here Pararthatvat is Pathantaram. Here, of course, the text used by KYM Yoga Vaisharthi is Pararthat. It doesn't matter. Pararthat. Swartha Sanyamat Purusha Jnanam. So, Sattva Purushayoho. If we split the words, Sattva Purushayoho. Sattva means we are now talking about the Buddhi Sattva. Buddhi Sattva. Buddhi in which Sattva Guna is highly dominant. That is, Rajas and Tamo Guna have been attenuated, and Sattva Guna is very predominant. Sattva Guna is dominant because it is only when Sattva Guna is dominant that we can know truth, we can do meditation, we can do anything positive. When Rajo Guna and Tamo Guna are active, we cannot do anything positive. So Sattva Purushayoho, this Sattva we are now referring to the Buddhi in which Sattva Guna is dominant. And Sattva and Purusha. Sattva Guna, even when the Sattva Guna is dominant, Buddhi is something which is insentient. Purusha is something which is sentient. So we are now talking about the two entities. One is insentient and the other is sentient. Atyanta Asankirnayoho. Totally, absolutely different. Absolutely, totally different. Atyantam Asankirna. Sankirnam is mixed up. Asankirnam is not at all together. Totally of distinct, different nature. Then Pratyaya Avisheshaha Bhogaha. Pratyaya Avisheshaha means Avisheshena Gruhyete. Avisheshena means we don't see any difference between them. We don't do that Viveka, and we see them as though they are one. We see that the mind is something which is cognizing things. It is the mind which is knowing things. So the mind is appearing to be sentient, though the mind in itself is insentient. Of course, this is a common factor between Patanjali Yoga, Sankhya, and also Vedanta. Pratyaya Avishesha Bhogaha Pararthatvat. So, of course, I have taken the other version here. In the Mula, the text here says Pararthat. Pathantaram, it doesn't matter. Pararthatvat means Chittam is something which is Parartham. Swartham is working for oneself. Parartham is working for somebody else. Para Artha means purpose. Swartha for working for myself. And Parartha is working for somebody else. What is it that is working for others? It is the Chitta. It is the Chittam. It is the mind which is working for the sake of the Purusha. It is the Prakriti. Chittam is Prakriti, in other words. And Prakriti is something which is for the sake of the Purusha, for the enjoyment of the Purusha. So that is what Ishvara Krishna Sankhya Karika also says, Prakriti is like a Shailushi, a sort of dancer who is there to please this Purusha. So, Avishesha Bhoga Pararthatvat, Swartha Sanyamat, Swa-Artha Sanyamat. And what is my real self? Swa-Artha. That real self, what is it that is knowing? That real, that which is knowing is only that reflection of that consciousness. Reflection of that consciousness, chitta pratibimba, what we say, chaitanya pratibimba we say, not chitta pratibimba, chaitanya pratibimba. That chaitanya pratibimba, by doing sanyama on that chaitanya pratibimba, which is the real knower, then purusha jnanam, one attains the knowledge of purusha. What exactly is that purusha? This is almost similar to the statement from Vedanta. In fact, if we see the opening lines of Patanjali, Shankaracharya's Bhashyam, it also says, Yushmad Asmat Pratyaya Gocharayoho Vishayinoho Tamah Prakashavad Atne Viruddha Svabhavayoho. Something like that it goes on. What is that? Yushmad Asmat Pratyaya Gocharayoho Vishayinoho. One is Vishaya and the other is Vishayi. Vishaya is insentient and Vishayi is something which is sentient, which is knowing that Vishaya. So there is an object and the knower of that object. There is something which is known and the knower. So this known and the knower, they look almost mixed up. So we have to differentiate. We have to see who is the knower and what is the seen or known. So sattva purushayoho atyanta sankirnayoho pratyaya avisheshaha. The word to word meaning is like this: sattva purushayoho, sattva of intellect, that is buddhi and purusha, atyanta sankirnayoho, which are totally distinct in nature. Why not instead of distinct, we can say different also. Totally different in nature. Pratyaya avisheshaha, that non-distinction in pratyaya, they are seen together, they are seen as though they are one. That is what is bhogaha. Pratyaya avisheshaha bhogaha. Yeah, this word I forgot. Avisheshaha bhogaha. That is, for that purusha, what is this bhoga? Bhoga is getting identified with this antahkarana. Getting identified with antahkarana avachinnam chaitanyam, isn't it? Jivaha. Vedanta also says the same. Antahkarana avachinna chaitanyam. That consciousness which is delimited by this antahkarana. So that is what is bhoga. That is what is called experience. Pararthatvat. Parartha, who is working for the other? It is buddhi which is working for the other. Pararthatvat, as it, that is buddhi or prakriti, exists for the sake of the other, that is purusha. Then we have to do the swartha sanyama. I have to put one semicolon here. Swartha sanyamat. By doing sanyama on the self, purusha jnanam, knowledge of purusha is attained. Then the total overall meaning is like this: the human experience, that is bhoga. We can also say instead of human experience, we can say purusha's experience, may be a correct expression, because we are now talking about purusha. Bhoga, for whom, from Patanjali's point of view, it is bhoga is of purusha, not talking about human experience. So we can talk about purusha. Purusha's experience is due to the non-distinct appearance of sattva, of intellect, which is prakriti, and the purusha, which in reality are totally distinct in nature. This is because the buddhi works for the other, that is purusha, and by doing sanyama on the self, the yogi attains knowledge of purusha. So this is something, this sutra is something not directly connected with the siddhis. It is not directly connected with this, with the siddhis. It is just a philosophical statement. It is a statement which is valid here, which is also valid in Vedanta. Then, as per this, I have given a small note. As per the Sankhya philosophy, the mind is a product of the prakriti, we know it, which exists for the bhoga of purusha. This also I told. And the mind appears distinct from purusha, indistinct from purusha. The mind appears indistinct from purusha, as though it is just not separate from purusha, because of the reflection of consciousness on it. You visualize some bright object like sun, and sun's light is falling on so many mirrors. One mirror is held up, and then with the help of that reflection on the mirror, I am able to see something. And I think that it is because of this I am able to see. But now I have to see that this reflection is what is responsible for the so-called cognition, and I have to concentrate on this reflection. Suppose I turn this mirror towards the sun in order to see the sun, I will not be able to see the sun. not able to see the sun. That is not it is not needed. I should not say I will not be able to see the sun. It is not needed. I need not turn the mirror toward the sun in order to see the sun. It is just absolutely ridiculous. So similarly, we know that the the Chaitanya Pratibimba is there, Pratibimba reflection is there on the mirror. And we have to see, we have to do Samyama on that in order to know the nature of that Purusha. So that is what is the point. But at the same time, Vachaspati Mishra points out that it is the sentient which cognizes the insentient, but not the other way. It is not as though through buddhi we are knowing the Purusha as an object. We are not objectifying the Purusha. Purusha or consciousness or Brahman cannot be objectified. And in fact, in Vedanta also they use two words called Vritti Vyapyatvam and Phala Vyapyatvam. Vritti Vyapyatvam is the Vritti is able to, Chitta Vritti is able to go up to that point. Vritti is able to know something. Yes, there is something like that. But then Phalavyapyatvam is seeing it as an object. You know, in the case of all ordinary things, there is also Vrittivyapyatvam, Phalavyapyatvam. When I look at some object in front of me, my mind is taking the shape of this particular object. That means there is a Vishayakara Vritti. And this knowledge is the phalam, which I am able to get. So this Vritti is giving that phalam or fruit that I am able to see this. Yes, I am seeing this. So, but this Purusha is something which cannot be objectified, because that is the very Chaitanyam which is actually enabling me, which is actually activating my mind, actually activating my Antahkarana to see this. So I have to only know that and then realize that it is my own nature. So that is the point there. So that Vritti Vyapyatvam and Phala Vyapyatvam are two words which are very important in Vedanta. So here also Vachaspati Mishra points out the same point. He doesn't use those words, but then he tells the same meaning. The sentient which cognizes the insentient, but not the other way. Hence the yogi has to do Samyama on this reflection of consciousness in order to know the nature of Purusha. That line also, there is in the commentary, there is one, that line somewhere. Buddhi Sattvam. Yeah, Vachaspati Mishra writes, Chitya Jadah Prakashyate na Jadena Chitihi. Chitya by Chaitanya, Jadah Prakashyate, Jada is illumined, na Jadena Chitihi. And Jada, as insentient, does not illumine the consciousness or Chiti or intelligence. Purusha Pratyayastu, Achida, yeah, what is this? Purusha Pratyayastu, Achidatma, Katham Chidatmanam Prakashayet. Purusha Pratyaya, that is the person who is Purusha Pratyaya, that is that Purusha or consciousness is something. Here, Achidatma, this Achidatma, this is Buddhi, which is Achidatma, Achit. How can this Katham Chidatmanam Prakashayet? Katham Chidatmanam Prakashayet? How can it illumine that Chidatma? So that is what it says. Purusha Pratyaya, that which is there, which is a reflection on the intelligence, on the Antahkarana. Reflection on the Antahkarana cannot be used in order to see that original light. The reflection need not be used to see the original light. So original light can be understood. So that is the point. So Buddhi Sattvam Prakhyashilam Samana Sattvopanibandhane Rajastamasi Vashikritya Sattva Purushanyata Pratyayena Parinatam. Buddhi Sattvam, the Sattva character of mind, Prakhya Sheelam, Prakhya, Prakashena, Kya means light, luminous. That is Khyati, we also use that word Khyati. The Sattva character of the mind, which is luminous in nature, Samana Sattvopanibandhane Rajastamasi Vashikritya. Vashikritya means having brought under control, having overpowered its inseparable associates. Samana Sattva Upanibandhane, they are just inseparable entities. So these things, Avinabhavi Sattvam, it says. Avinabhavi Sattvam, that is what commentator says. That is Bhaswati. Okay. So overpowers its inseparable associates, Rajas and Tamas, and transforms into the awareness of the distinction of Buddhi, awareness of the distinction of Buddhi, that is intellect, which is Prakriti, and Purusha, which is pure consciousness. So Prakhyaseelam Rajastamasi Vashikritya, Sattva Purusha Anyata Pratyayena Parinatam. It transforms into a single awareness of whatever written, it's inseparable in nature, transforms into the awareness of the distinction of buddhi and purusha. There is not distinction, non-distinction, awareness of the non-distinction. Sorry, I'm sorry, non-distinction. Non-distinction of buddhi and purusha, which is pure consciousness. Sattva purusha and sorry, anyata pratyayena. What does the comment say? Let us say sattva purusha anyata pratyayena. Sattva purusha अन्यथा प्रत्ययेन परिणतं रजस्तमसि वशीकृत्य तस्माच्च सत्वात् परिणामिनो अत्यंत विधर्मा विशुद्धो. Okay, the non distinction is अन्यथा सत्व पुरुष अन्यथा प्रत्यय. Yeah, this distinction is right. अन्यथा distinction of buddhi and purusha. Then तस्माच्च सत्वात् परिणामिनः अत्यंत विधर्म विशुद्धः अन्यः चितिमात्र रूपः पुरुषः. So this is the point. Tasmacha Satvat Parinamina. That's Satvam. This Sattva Guna, which is again Buddhi, which is a Parinami. Sattva Guna, which is Buddhi, it's actually Parinami. It undergoes change. And Atyanta Vidharma, which is totally distinct. Atyanta Vidharma. We are now talking about the Purusha, which is Atyanta Vidharma, which is totally distinct from this Parinami Sattvam. And Vishuddhaha Anyaha, Vishuddhaha, which is pure, which is not having any contact, which is not having any sort of bandha. This consciousness or Purusha does not have any bandha, whereas this Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, these are the things which have bandha. So Tasmacha Sattvat Parinaminaha, Atyanta Vidharma, that which is totally distinct. Vishuddhaha, that which is pure. Anyaha, the other one. What is that other one? Chitimatra Rupaha, which is of the nature of pure intelligence. Chitimatra Rupaha, which is of the nature of pure intelligence. That is what is Purusha. So Purusha is the entity which is totally distinct from Sattva, which is Sattva, which is changing in nature. Changing in nature does not refer to Purusha. Changing in nature refers to this Sattva. So this Purusha is pure, distinct, and of the nature of pure consciousness. Then tayoho atyanta sankirnayoho pratyaya avishesho bhogaha. So tayoho atyanta asankirnayoho, of those two things which are totally distinct, pratyaya avishesha, that non-distinct appearance is what is called experience, is bhoga. Purushasya darshita vishayatvat, because there the Purusha is able to see things, Purusha is able to know things through the Antahkarana only. Through the, what is this? Through Prakriti. Purusha is using Prakriti in order to have that experience. So that is what it says. Purushasya darshita vishayatvat. This is because the objects are presented to the Purusha. Then Sabhoga Pratyaya Sattvasya Pararthatvat Drushyaha. Sabhoga Pratyaya, that experience, Sattvasya Pararthatvat, because this buddhi is working for the other. Sattvasya Pararthatvat, because Sattva is working for something else. Something else is that Purusha. Pararthatvat Drushyaha. So this whole Bhoga Pratyaya, this experience, what we call experience, is something which is Drushya, which is something which is seen, something which is known, and which is distinct from the knower. And something which is known is always distinct from the knower. So this is the nature of experience is Drushya. This is distinct from the knower, as the buddhi works for the Purusha. Then yastu tasmad vishishta sitimatra rupaha anyaha paurusheyah pratyayah tatra sanyamat purusha vishaya prajna jayate. And now we have to see that there is what is called Antahkarana. And in the Antahkarana, there is Chitimatra Rupa. Chitimatra Rupa means in that Antahkarana, that Chitimatra Rupa is that reflection of consciousness, reflection of Chaitanya. So on that, Paurusheya Pratyaya, that Pratyaya which is belonging to that Purusha. Paurusheya means something which is belonging to that Purusha. So Tatra Sanyamat, that is by doing Sanyama on that. Yastu Tasmad Vishishtaha. Chitimatra Rupahanya, by doing Sanyama on the knowledge of Purusha, which is totally distinct from the object experience. We are not, now we have given up that object experience. We have now given up that object. We are now coming to the subject. Who is the real subject? Is the real subject, is Antahkarana the real subject? Or is that Chaitanya Pratibimba which is the real subject? And the Chaitanya Pratibimba, if you want to know, if you concentrate on that, if you do Sanyama on that, then you know the source of that so-called apparently what is seen as the knower. That apparent knower is that this Antahkarana. This apparent knower, because of the Chaitanya Pratibimba, it is able to know. So by concentrating on that Chaitanya Pratibimba, the yogi will be able to understand that there is something otherwise, there is something else, and that something else is not different from me. My essential nature is that. So it is not as though it is something else. I cannot see myself. It is like that. I know that, that there is something which is called self. I exist. When I say I exist, I am talking about both the chit and the sat. When I say I exist, I, that knowledge of I is something which is chit. I exist, that existence is something which is sat. So because as I cannot see myself, so similarly here also, the vritti will not be able to see the Purusha. Vritti will be able to understand Purusha. Vritti will be able to merge in Purusha and become that Purusha. So that is the point. So yastu tasmad vishishtaha chitimatra rupaha anyaha paurusheya pratyayah tatra sanyamat Purusha vishaya prajna jayate. So by doing Sanyama on the knowledge that is reflection of Purusha, then which is totally distinct from the object experience and which is of the nature of pure consciousness, the knowledge of Purusha happens. This is slightly subtle thing which we have to slowly understand. And here, of course, here very clearly he is saying, Nacha Purusha Pratyayena Buddhi Sattvatmana Purusho Drusyate. So this is the point I was making, that Vritti Vyapyatvam and Phala Vyapyatvam. You cannot objectify Brahman. You cannot look at it as an object. Nacha Purusha Pratyayena, that Purusha is by the knowledge happening in the Buddhi. By the knowledge which is happening in the Buddhi because of that reflection. I should have written that also. Because of reflection. Only that is Purusha Pratyaya means that reflection. So, Nacha Purusha Pratyayena, Buddhi Sattvatmana Purusha Pratyayena. Buddhi Sattvatmana is the adjective for this. Buddhi Sattvatmana Purusha Pratyayena. It is Purusha Pratyaya. It is basically Buddhi Sattvatmana. Its basic nature is, it is like Buddhi only. So, through that Buddhi, Purusha na drishyate, na has to be applied here. Buddhi Sattvatmana Purusha Pratyayena Purushaha na drishyate. That is the connection. Buddhi Sattvatmana Purusha Pratyayena Purushaha na drishyate. So that Purusha is not known by the knowledge which is happening in the Buddhi. I have to fill it up. I have to slightly fill it up. Then, yeah, Vedanta which uses, what is this Vedanta? Yeah, which I have to, Vedanta talks of Vritti Vyapyatvam and Phala Vyapyatvam. Then Buddhi cannot objectify Purusha, as Purusha is not an object but pure awareness. It is like turning the mirror against the sun to see the sun, which is not needed. Then Purusha eva tam pratyayam swatmavalambanam pashyati. It is the Purusha who knows that experience, swatmavalambanam, which is dependent on him only, swa atma avalambanam. That entire experience is dependent on him only, dependent on his own reflection. So that is why it is said, Tatha Hyuktam Vijnataramare Kena Vijaniyat. Yeah, this again, a quote from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Vijnataramare Kena Vijaniyat. That is the lower, the Brahman. In that Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka, they use the word called Brahma. But here we are using the word Purusha. And this it is the Purusha who is knower. Vijnataramare Kena Vijaniyat. All the instruments, all the senses and mind, they are not the knower. It is the real knower is that consciousness alone. This line is from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 2-4-14. It occurs later also in fourth chapter also it again occurs 2-4-14. Again fourth Brahmana also it occurs. Fourth or fifth, I think. Then Purusha, which is called Brahman in Vedanta, is the illuminer. So illuminer word probably is not there. So that is why whenever I type illuminer, that R gets deleted. It is the illuminer of all intellects by reflecting on them, by reflecting in them, okay. It is through such reflection that all the beings know the world. It is like the reflection of light on a mirror, which enables us to see things. We do not turn the mirror toward the sun to see that. Okay. Then now we again coming back to Siddhis. So that sutra number 35 is about basically about the sort of epistemological discussion as to what exactly is knowledge, how exactly are we able to see, who is the real seer, drukka, drushya, viveka, all those words we see. So that thing only is mentioned here. What we see in the druk, drushya, viveka are 13th adhyaya of Gita. Kshetra, kshetrajna, kshetra and kshetrajna. Kshetra is drishyam. In other words, prakriti. Kshetrajna, that is a knower, that is a consciousness or purusha. So that small epistemological discussion in that sutra. Then tataha pratibha shravana vedana adarsha asvada varta jayante. So if we split all these things, pratibha shravana vedana adarsha asvada varta jayante, if we want to split it, it is like this: pratibha shravana vedana adarsha asvada vartaha jayante. What is this pratibha? Pratibha we got in an earlier sutra also. I think 33 or so. We got it pratibha. Pratibha means something which comes from pratibha. That is pratibha. That is intuitive knowledge. So that is what we saw. Pratibha, that is intuitive knowledge. Shravana. Shravana, relating to Shravanam is Shravana. That is Tadita. For Shravana is Tadita. That is hearing divine voices. Then Vedana, that is feeling some divine touch. Adarsha, that is vision of divine forms. Aswada, tasting divine foods. Vartaha, sensing divine smell. Jayante. So these are the meanings which are given by Vyasa Bhashya. Normally, Adarsha means something else. Vedana means just touch, not divine touch. Adarsha means just seeing things, but not divine things. Aswada, only tasting foods, but not divine foods. But this element of divine is added by Vyasa. Then by such sanyama on the smell, on the self, one attains intuitive knowledge, hears divine voices, feels divine touch, sees divine forms, tastes divine foods, and senses divine smells. Why does he add that? That is because knowledge of all other things was told in an earlier sutra. That is Pratibhadva Sarvam. Yes, that was the sutra. Pratibhadva Sarvam. From that Pratibha, intuitively to know everything. So when we are able to, when that sutra has already been said, it is about all worldly knowledge. But now we are talking about something which is supernormal. So there it is about normal knowledge, but it is here now, here we are talking about the supernormal. So Vachaspati Mishra points out that the intuitive knowledge of on all things was told in an earlier sutra, and hence this sutra should be taken as referring to supernormal, that is divine sensory attainment. Then Pratibhat Sukshma Vyavahita Viprakrishta Atita Anagata Jnanam. We saw this, I think, already also. Pratibhat, by that intuitive knowledge, Sukshma, subtle, Vyavahita, something which is hidden behind a wall or something. Viprakrishta, which is far off. Atita, Anagata, past and future. Anagata is future. Jnanam. Then Shravanat, Divya Shabda Shravanam. So Shravana is one siddhi by which one listens to that divine sounds. Vedanat Divya Sparshadhikamaha. Vedana is that is what is Divya Sparsha. That is a divine touch. Then Adarsha is one siddhi by which Divya Rupa Samvit. He sees some divine forms. Aswada, Divya Rasa Samvit. That is divine rasa. So like that it goes on. Then Te Samadhavu Upasargaha Vyuthane Siddhayaha. This is a general caveat which we see both in Vedanta and also in all systems, whether it is Buddhism, Jainism, or whether it is Yoga Sutra. Siddhis are accepted in all these traditions. Siddhis are accepted in Vedanta, Buddhism, Jainism, and also here. Sikhism I do not know, because Sikhism is another religion, which again born in India. again, basically Sikhism is mostly from very, very close to Advaita Vedanta. But then probably, I don't know whether they talk about Siddhis. But here, Siddhis, they are accepted in all other religions. So, and all other religions, all the Indian religions, they have this caveat that these are a sort of impediment. They are obstacles which divert a person from the real goal, which actually distract a person, which lure a person away from the real goal. The real goal is knowing the self. In Buddha, becoming Buddha. In Jainism, becoming a Jaina. And similarly in the Yoga Sutra also, there is something realizing the distinction between Purusha and Prakriti, Purusha, Prakriti, Viveka, and staying as that Purusha. So that real goal is forgotten with these samadhis. So te samadhau means in the context of samadhi, or for somebody who is interested in samadhi, upasarga means obstacles. Vyuthane siddhaya. Vyuthane, at the time of Vyuthana, during that Utthana Dasha. Vyuthana Dasha and Samadhi Dasha. We talk about Samadhi Dasha is when we are trying to have that absolute absorption in that is Samadhi. Vyuthana is when you come out of that Samadhi. So Vyuthane Dashayam, te siddhaya. They can be treated as siddhis in the Vyuthana Dasha. But actually they are obstacles for Samadhi because a person may be lured by that and he may be pursuing that only. Here, this commentary is also very little. Te pratibhadayaha samahita chittasya utpadyamanaha upasargaha. Pratibhadaya, that pratibham, shravanam, vedanam, etc. we heard in this sutra. So these are samahita chittasya for somebody who is in samadhi or who wants to be in samadhi. Samahita chittasya utpadyamanaha. When they arise, when a person is trying to do samadhi, when a person is trying to enter into samadhi or get into that samadhi, tasya utpadyamana, samahita chittasya utpadyamana, which when they arise during that samadhi, they are obstacles. Upasargaha. Tat darshana pratyanikatvat. Tat darshana pratyanikatvat. Darshanam means realization. That samadhi, absorption in that samadhi is darshanam here. Darshana pratyanikatvat. Pratyanika means something which is opposite to that. So they are because they obstruct the realization of Purusha. Darshana pratyanikatvat. Darshana means realization. These are opposed to realization. That is it. Then vyuthita chittasya. For somebody who is not in that samadhi, who is in the normal state of mind, non-samadhi state of mind, vyuthita chittasya utpadyamanaha siddhayaha. In the case of a person who is not in samadhi, they are siddhis. So this is something in all traditions, probably in all, even in the Western tradition also. When I was thinking about this sutra, I remembered the story of Dr. Faustus, which we read long ago. Story of Dr. Faustus, who enters into a pact with one of the lieutenants of the devil. That lieutenant of the devil is some Mephistopheles. So this gentleman, he gets into a pact. He has a sort of pact with this written in his own blood with that Mephistopheles, and then he pledges his soul to devil. And in return for so many years of unbridled happiness, sensual pleasures, and then he has all types of sensual pleasures, and he achieves so many things. He wants to see Alexander the Great. He sees Alexander the Great, and he goes and he punches the Pope on his face. He becomes invisible, and he goes and punches the Pope on his face. And again, he also calls the Helen of Troy. And then exclaims, "Was this the face?" etc. So all that thing, it is something. There also, the ultimate lesson is that is a tragedy. That Dr. Faustus story is a tragedy. So he actually, because his soul is there, I'm not very sure whether it is I forget whether somebody prays for him and again he comes back. I'm not sure. So long as I remember, it is a tragedy. So these siddhis have a potential to lure or distract a person from his higher goal. So this is a constant warning in Vedanta too. Perhaps the story of Dr. Faustus can be seen in this light. So probably at that time we didn't know that Vedanta, the story of Dr. Faustus has to be seen in that light, because the higher goal is different. Higher goal is realizing what is the supreme reality. Instead of that, we are busy with all other various other siddhis, and these siddhis, they bring down a person. So even in our Puranas, we see so many cases where the people who are bogged down with siddhis and then lose all their tapashakti. So it happens to Vishwamitra also. Then बंधकारण शैथिल्यात् प्रचार संवेदनाच्च चित्तस्य परशरीरावेशः. This again another siddhi which the parakaya pravesha also it says parasharira avesha. Parakaya pravesha, kaya sharira are one and the same. Parakaya avesha pravesha one and the same. So parakaya pravesham we see in the case of Shankaracharya. Parakaya pravesham we see in that what is that book Shankara Vijayam, which is said to be the biography of Shankaracharya, written by several people. Several people have written the biography, and of them, that which is written by Vidyaranya is said to be the standard one. There too we see this Parakaya Pravesha and all those things we see. Various siddhis like Akasha Gamana also. Bandha Karana Shaithilyat. Bandha Karana Shaithilyat. Shaithilyam means weakening. Weakening. Shithila. Shithila avastha we say. Shaithilyat, bandha karana shaithilyat, because of the weakening of the cause of bondage. What is the cause of bondage? Cause of bondage, we know, is karma. Karma means that which is pending, that which is behind us, which is in our bag. Sanchi, sanchita. In Telugu, there is a word called sanchita. Sanchi. Sanchi we call bag, for bag. So sanchita is something which is there in that sanchi. Sanchita is Sanskrit word. Probably that has just come into Telugu as sanchi. So because of weakening of the cause of bondage, prachara samvedanacha. Prachara means the movement of the mind. Chitta samvedanam we saw in an earlier sutra, 36 or so, where 36 and chitta, 30, earlier, 34. We saw chitta samvedanam. Chitta, we get the knowledge of the whole knowledge of the chittam, about the nature of vrittis, the functioning of the vrittis, etc. So, prachara samvedanacha, due to the knowledge of the flow of mind. Prachara also means propagation. Prakarshena charati. Chara dhatu. Chara means movement. Prachara means it can be propagation, it can be propaganda, it can be movement. Dharma prachara, we say. Prachara is propagation. So, prakarshena charati. Prachara also means movement or motion or flow. Due to the knowledge of the flow of mind, chittasya prachara samvedanacha para sharira aveshaha, entering the body of another person. So then let us see, because of the weakening of the cause of bondage and due to knowledge of the flow of mind, accomplishment of entering the body of another. Then now he says, loli bhutasya manasaha apratishthasya sharire karmashaya vashat bandhaha pratishtha ityarthaha. Sharire Manasaha pratishtha kimartham, why is the mind bogged down or tied down to one sharira? Means it is because of the karmashaya. We have to spend out the karma phala. So in order to spend out one karma phala, there is a body which is given. Body means naturally with a sukshma sharira, and of course the sukshma sharira cannot be just like that be there, and so sukshma sharira with the physical body also is given so that we can also do certain things. So loli bhutasya manasaha. For this mind, loli bhuta, lola, that is always allured, we can say, for the wandering, unsteady mind, allured by all outward things. Loli bhutasya, that is actually loli bhuta allured, which is a probably correct translation. Loli bhutasya manasaha, apratishthasya, pratishtha means stable. Apratishthasya, something which is not stable, that is very unsteady mind. Sharire karmashaya vashat bandhaha. This bondage in the body, with the body, is because of due to impressions of the past karma. Bandhaha. Pratishtha ityartha. Pratishtha means that settling down in a body. Then tasya karmanaha bandhakaranasya shaithilyam samadhi balat bhavati. By effective samadhi balat, by the strength of, instead of intensity, I can also say strength, by the strength of samadhi. by the strength of samadhi. Weakening of such impressions happens by the strength of that samadhi. Samadhi balat bhavati. Then prachara samvedanancha chittasya samadhijameva. So this prachara samvedanam, that is the knowledge of the flow of mind, is also by the samadhi, because we saw it in the earlier sutra. Samadhijameva. Karma bandha kshayat swachittasya prachara samvedanacha yogi चित्तं स्वशरीरात् निकृष्य निष्कृष्य शरीरान्तरेषु निक्षिपति. Karma क्षयात्, by the attenuation of the bondage of karma, by the weakening of the bondage of karma. Then swachittasya prachara samvedanacha, and by the knowledge of this flow of the mind, by the knowledge of the flow of one's own mind, yogi, what can yogi do? Chittam swasharirat nishkrushya. Swasharirat nishkrushya means from one's own body he pulls it out. Nishkrushya. Karshana. Karshana means pulling out. Nishkrushya. Sharirantareshu nikshipati. He puts it in some other body. So it dominates another mind. Of course, another body also will be having another mind. He dominates because by the strength of his samadhi, by the strength of his willpower, he dominates the other mind. And of course, there are certain stories also in Puranas where somebody goes and then he dominates the mind of somebody and then tries to do something good or bad. So like that, a yogi can pull out his mind from the body and places it on the in other bodies. This also we see in Shankaracharya's case. So nikshiptam chittam cha indriyanyanupatanti. Yeah, this is again very important. Naturally, chittam means all the indriyas also will go. Nikshiptam chittam cha Indriyani anupatanti. The senses anupatanti. Patadhatu. Patadhatu means, pata means fall also. Here utpatati, utpatanti, anutpatanti. That is it anupatanti or anutpatanti? Anupatanti, prachara samvedanacha chitam nikshipati. Anupatanti it is written. But anyway, anutpatanti actually, that is they fly up. The senses, they fly up along with the mind, which is placed elsewhere. Then he also gives an example. This line also is from Upanishad, but slightly context is changed. Yatha madhukara rajanam makshikaha utpatantam anutpatanti. This is talking about pranendriya samvadam. In Upanishads, there is a context called pranendriya samvada. There is a discussion between prana and indriyas. Who is great? So the sense of sight goes away for 1 year. And then comes back. The sense of sight thinks, oh, without me, this being cannot live, the fellow cannot survive. So he is happy. Somebody is coming and giving some food to him. Similarly, sense of smell goes away. Similarly, sense of some other sense of touch goes away. So they all, okay, with all that, the fellow is like a dumb man. The fellow is like a somebody like without sense of space, touch, etc. So, but then he is alive. When the prana tries to lift up from the body, then all other things feel as though they are fully uprooted. They also feel that they are getting uprooted. Though then they realize, oh, you are the boss. So in that context, I remember, madhukara rajanam makshika utpatantam anutpatanti, or in some other context. The context I have to verify, but the line is actually from the Upanishad. Madhukara rajanam makshikaha utpatantam anutpatanti. Madhukara raja, the honeybees rise when the king bee. Madhukara raja. Now we talk about queen bee. Maybe it doesn't matter. Makshikaha utpatantam anutpatanti. Madhukara rajanam utpatantam. Makshikaha anu utpatanti. Means when that fly gets up, this also gets up. And when that halts, all these things also halt. Similarly, nivishamanam anuvishante, nivishamanam rajanam anuvishante. When that stops, all these also stop. Tatha indriyani parasharirāveshe chittam anuvidhiyante iti. Indriyani parasharirāveshe. When they enter the other body, chittam anuvidhiyante. They follow the chittam. They follow the chittam, which is located in some other body. So the biographers of Shankara have claimed, okay, on the occasion of the debate with Mandana Mishra, we know this story very well. Then Udana Jayat Jala Panka Kantaka Dishu Asangaha Utkrantischa. Udana Jayat. Udana. Utana. we know that there are 5 vayus: prana, apana, udana, samana. What else? Prana, apana, samana, shodana, vyana, 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 vyana. So these are 5 bodies, 5 vayus. They are not 5 different vayus. The same vayu which we breathe, it does 5 different functions in the body. So udana jayat, there is what is called udana vayu. So that udana vayu is the prane udano. Where is it? Udana Kantha Deshastha. It is supposed to be there in this Kantha Desha. Kantha. We saw this Kantha is throat. So here that Udana Vayu is there. And what does it do? He is going to describe. Udana Jayat, by conquering or by achieving control on that Udana. Jala, Panka, Kantakadishu, Asangaha, Utkrantisha. Asanga means non-contact. Just not getting contact. That means your feet are not on the ground. You are just lifted, flying up. Feet not on the ground. You are just over the ground. You keep moving. By achieving control on Udana, Jala, water, Panka, you may cross the river, you may cross the ocean. Panka, even if there is a quagmire, or if there is even ordinary mud or even quagmire, or Kantakadishu. Kantaka is thorns. Kantakadishu, Asangaha, non-contact, and also Utkrantisha. Utkranti, commentator is also talking about Utkranti. He is giving another meaning also. Giving another meaning, Utkranti means at the time of death. Then there is what is called Brahmarandra. I think in the last class also we talked about this Brahmarandra. So this gentleman, this person, this yogi, he is prana. It lives through this Brahmarandra. That is how it is said. Then let us see. By achieving control on Udana, one achieves the power of moving above water, mire, thorns, etc. without contact with them. So the air we breathe has different functions, and Udana is one such function. It is said to stay in the throat region. And what does it do? Samastendriya vrittihi pranadi lakshana jivanam. Jivanam nama means life means pranadi lakshana samastendriya vrittihi. That is, life is the collective activity of all these senses in the form of airs, such as prana, pranadi lakshana. All these airs in the body, these are responsible for various functions. If some air is not functioning, that particular organ, that particular aspect will not function. So it is like that. So it is the collective activity of all senses in the form of, or rather inspired by, or assisted by, or helped by, enabled by airs such as prana. And tasya kriya panchatayi. Tasya kriya, its activity, that is its functioning, is 5-fold. What is that? Prano mukhanashika gatihi ahridaya vrittihi. Prana is mukhanashika gatihi. From the mukha, from the mouth and the nose, its movement is there. Ahridaya vrittihi, right up to this hridaya. Ahridaya means up to the hridaya. Then samam nayanat samanascha anabhirtihi. Samana vayu. It takes the essence of food. This word essence of food is not given in Vyasa. It is given in the commentaries. Samana is named so because it takes the essence of food equally. Samanam nayanat samana. It takes things equally. Anabhirtihi. Navi is navel. Anabhirtihi means up to this navel. Up to this navel, its region. It's Samana's region. Then apanayanat. Apanaha. Apadatalavritti. Apanayanat. Apanaha. Apanayanat. That is taking it down. Apanayanam, taking it down. That is the excretion, etc. Apana is so named because its function is to push down that excretion, whether it is solid or liquid, because it takes excretion down and it extends up to the sole of the feet. We don't know why it is mentioned like this. Apada talavrittihi. You see, he could have mentioned up to Swadhisthana chakra. Not Swadhisthana, is Mooladhara chakra. Then I don't know why he is talking about apada talavrittihi. Padatala means the sole of the foot. Karatala means this portion, the palm. Karam is hand, karatala is the palm. Padatala is the sole of the foot. Padatala vritti. That is, this apana vayu is supposed to be there, is said to be there right up to the Pada tala, the sole of the foot. And its function is to push out things, apanayanat. Then unnayanat udanaha ashirurti. Unnayanat, ut means up, nayanat. It is leading up. Udanaha ashirovruti. Shiras is head. Ashirovruti means up to the head. Then Vyapi Vyanaiti. This Vyanas Sarvashariragaha says Amaraposha. This Vyanavayu is said to be all over the body. Sarvashariragaha. Yesham Pradhanaha Prana. Pradhanam Pranaha. Of these, Pradhanam is, that is the main important thing is Prana. Then Udana Jayat Jala Panka Kantakadishu Asangaha. Utkrantischa Prayana Kale Bhavati. So there is a Patantaram Prayana Kale Bhavati. That also is right. Prayana Kale. Prayana is the old usage which we find in one Upanishad also. Prayanantam is a Prayana Kala. It is mentioned, that word we see in Upanishad. So here, Prayana Kala. So Udana Jayat, by conquering this or achieving this or mastering this Udana Vayu, what happens? Jala, Panka, water, mud, Kantaka, Adishu, Asangaha, non-contact, and also Utkrantischa, Prayana Kale Bhavati. So Utkranti in the sutra superficially means a person can just fly over. That is the sutra meaning. But for that Utkranti, Vyasa is giving a specific meaning also. That is Prayana Kale Utkranti Bhavati. That is at the time of death, that Utkranti going through this Brahmarandra happens. Tam Vasitvena Pratipadyate. Tam means Gatim. Tam Gatim. That Gati is feminine. So that is why Prayana Kale Utkranti. Utkranti also, that is check up, it must be feminine. Tam Vasitvena Pratipadyate. He knows it, or he realizes it, that he knows that it is a Vasit, it is called, it is a Siddhi. He knows that it is a Siddhi. Tam Vasitvena Pratipadyate. Then what is this? By Vasitvam also is a Siddhi. It is the name of the Siddhi is Vasitvam. Ashta Siddhaya Anima Mahima Chaiva Garima Lakima Tatha Prapti Prakanyam Ishitvam Vasitvancha Ashta Siddhaya. That Vasitvam, there another meaning is given. So here Vasitvena Pratipadyate, we can take the meaning as just having control on this Udana Vayu. That Udana Vayu control, it can be taken as Vasitvam. But there is general meaning is Vasitvam is ability to control everyone. So by mastering Udana, the yogi attains non-contact with water, mire, or thorns on earth as he flies above them. He also experiences such upward movement departing through the Brahmarandra at the time of his final journey. Prayana Kala. Prayana is journey. So he attains it. It means that movement through the Brahmarandra as an accomplishment or Siddhi. So note is in the Puranas, we see the accounts of sages who fly in air. Narada is one ubiquitous sage who flies. Even the biography of Sri Shankara claims this. Yeah, I think we can stop here. The time also is over. Srinivas, any questions, please?
Thank you, sir. Basaraju sir is just giving an observation. This Madhukara Raja example is previously quoted by Vyasa at 2-54 while discussing Pratyahara.
Yeah, that is true. Madhukara Raja, it is quoted earlier also. That is true.
2-54.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Good. I will note it also.
That's all, sir, for today.
That's all. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Namaskar.
Harihi Om Tat Sat.